This is part 2 of Azure AKS or Kubernetes services. In part 1, we covered how we can spin the cluster using out of the box or through the marketplace Azure Kubernetes, and we highlighted the steps. It was straightforward, and we've noticed that when you spin the Kubernetes services, if you specify only the resource groups for your cluster, like the one on the screen, we will have additional 3 RGs or resource groups for network, monitorings, and the pods themselves. So just to show you, recap, if I go to the resource groups, I will see only the cluster. And if I go back there and I go to my default resource groups, and you will see here the log analytics, because I've chosen log analytics. And if I go back and I check, the second one is something different, which is, you can see, is UK South. This is B2C. And if I go to my pods, and I will see the rest of my nodes, pool, network security group, VNet, and the load balancer. I mean, if you are not happy with these being inside the same MG resource group, you can create different resource group based on your layout, and you can shift them. Give an example. If I want my VNet to be moved away from here, all what I have to do is say move either to another resource group or subscription, and then I move it. For this exercise, we're just going to keep it and leave it where it is. So for today, I'm just going to show you around in part, let's call it 2. What did we get when we span that cluster? So this is an overview. We have the version of the Kubernetes. This is 1.16.13. It is not the latest, however, it is the default one when you spin Azure AKS. So there is 1.17 and 18, which is in preview mode. This is the resource group, location, subscription, which you can change, and subscription ID. Plus, you've noticed we don't have tags, which means you can add tags here if you choose to. What exactly you want to add? I don't know, AK version, and you can give it the version you want and assign it. So you will see the tag will show up here as soon as the tag complete. Here we go. So AK engine version is version 0.47. In addition to that, you can add your own internal tag like IT, department, so on. Now, we spoke about this plugin. It's a basic Kubernetes plugin. If I click on it, to show you what is it. You can see here the networking behind our cluster. HTTP application routing. We said no. What exactly this means? This means the application route will make it easy for my app to be deployed for the cluster using publicly DNS available. So at the moment this is disabled because we might have nothing, firewalls, and load balancer. So look at this basic type. We got a CIDR. For the port is 10.244.0.0, and then we got service CIDR, and then DNS IP, and then the Docker bridge, which is the bridge between my node and any pod inside the node with the bare metal host, let's just say hardware or Microsoft side. I will cover the networking in more details with some diagrams to make it easy for us. Activity log for my environment. If I have any access, they all will show up here. If I basically do a diagnostics, then you got the settings here where you can change create a workplace where you can capture exactly what you want to capture. For example, I might investigate an issue with security, or I would like to capture the security logs and send it to log analytics, or archive storage, I need a storage, or to event hub, and from event hub maybe to a system like Splunk and so on. I can start with the basic one, which is the log analytics. I've got already one workplace. You can see the same workplace I was using earlier. And what else do I need? So we got that one here. I've got my security, but maybe I can sort of like archive it as well. Do I have storage? No. I can create storage and then come and link it. Okay, so this all event stream, which is the sort of next advance. Same thing apply if I want to do admins, log analytics, and same. Yeah, you've noticed you need to give a name. So in order to save it, so I'm gonna maybe security and this, both send them here, and I shall call this one Kubernetes or AKS admin and sec. You can have your own naming convention. Okay, so save it, which means now logs and admin activities goes to my same workspace, and this is the title. You can come up with a proper naming convention so you can trace it. So I'm going to ignore this one, ignore activity logs, go back to my cluster. Next is IAM. If you want to basically use identity management and role management, role access, this is where you can specify in personate requests. You can see this, the permission for my Kubernetes and any other directories or PIM or EAPIM or any other sort of roles. Okay, these are the role assignments, and you can see the roles are available, and you can create different groups for different roles to manage your Kubernetes services. For example, you got the role admin, cluster admin, user, role-based access, cluster role-based access. Then you can see assign, say add, for example, and then co-admin or admin roles, where you can specify basically who is doing what. Yeah, I can select this and add it if I choose to, or remove it. Okay, and I can give it a name. Okay, like for example, Alex here, and then save it. Okay, these kind of sort of like role-based access for my control. Tagging, we covered that one earlier. We created only one tag. You can create as much as you wish based on the service you are running and based on your department or division. Diagnostic and solve problems. This is the logs. To give you so nice overview. Either using cluster insight or networking. These are the two major components for Kubernetes, and you can see it in preview mode. If I would like to basically diagnose DNS issue, which is very common, I can click DNS here and see what exactly is it, cluster DNS or the subnets or network connectivity. I'm going to go down the route of network connectivity and see what options are available for me. It says allocate port, set default value, analyze, not find any issues. Basically, it goes through a few steps, and then based on that one, either you have found the issue or you say search the document or show more titles. Here we go, and you can continue and continue and continue. This might help you. Same thing apply to the VNet and so on. Same principle basically, connectivity, and you can go through this one. Okay. If I want to do cluster inside, I want to see maybe identity issue or node health. You can see it goes through certain steps to validate network connectivity for outbound, cluster management, monitorings, AKs integration, and goes to all these Microsoft predefined information. You can send copy, or you can see 15 and so on. You see they keep doing the testing, and these are predefined by Microsoft, okay? And all they pass successfully. So this is the diagnostic security. What do we have here? We have Azure network policies, and we have, I have not specified anything during the installation. If you recall last time, you can install the agent, and that what's happened here basically. This will collect information from the VMs without, any sort of like impact, I will say. And then you can see that will get fed into the Azure Security Center. Let's ignore that one at the moment, because Security Center, we know, need an agent, and that will basically give you a description, and you can view it if you choose to, or you might not, because at the moment it's a free tier I'm using. Okay, and you can see all the recommendation. At the moment, I don't think so we have any severe issues. We've been running this one, see here, and healthy 1, healthy 0, not applicable. Let's have a look quickly on the issues we have, you get a description, and it will tell you exactly what is it, okay, and the charge for it. So let's ignore this one. We go to the namespace. At the moment, we're not using namespace for my cluster, but you can see there, you have the default. 2 days ago, we did these activities: Kubernetes, release, public, and system. If I want to add new, you go the YAML for your file, and JSON. When it's loading, you can basically add, but still thinking it's in preview mode. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you what it's supposed to do. So if you click here, take us to Microsoft description to describe how the YAML file will look like, and how we can basically create CPUs, RAM, container, namespace, which is the node itself, version, and replica API version, and so on. Okay, and the code associated with it, and you can see it's using kubectl or command to control the volume and maybe any settings within the cluster itself. What's the default? Here we go. Let's see, just show you the default, which you have some information there. You click here, see more, and then get the YAML. Hopefully that will load the YAML file for me. And it's very basic. You can see this is what my namespace, and you can see the timestamp and the version itself. And if I go to the node release, I can again YAML, and I can see exactly the same settings. Okay, if I go to my workload, it's still in preview at the moment. These are the workload for my Kubernetes system, and again you see core DNS, auto scale, metrics, and the dashboard as well. So just show you one of them. DNS, that will be show me what's available, what's happening, and you can see here what is going on with my loads. Service and egress, traffic incoming into my environment, and you can see the cluster IP. Bearing in mind I used public IP to define, but you can see there the IPs for each one of these services. And for example, the DNS one, again, if I go to my YAML, you will see the predefined settings of my cluster, core DNS, using kubedns for KS or K8, and you can see the JSON definition, metadata with protocol, TCP and UDP, and the API and the DNS with the port 53 UDP, and the selector itself for my cluster IP. Now next is the node pool. We did explain this last time. We have only one, and you can see the version Linux standard. You can add another pool if you wish to, and that should take care of the replication. And again, you can choose Windows, or you see the versions are available for replication, and that should be for virtual replication or replication itself. You can upgrade if you choose to. This is the current one. If you remember earlier, we said like 1.17 and 0.9. Okay, you can control this one and upgrade it if we choose to. and let's just do it basically. I mean, nothing in our environment. So if I want to go to the latest, I'll pick that one and say save. That goes to the backend and will basically apply the latest Kubernetes. Hopefully you won't do this one if you have live system, but I've just spun it, so nothing is there on it. For your environment, you need to make sure this can basically happen in independent environment, and then you can roll it across to your dev, test, UAT onwards, after testing and doing regression test and system test and any other Selenium or method, whatever method testing you have to make sure the system plays. So I'm just going to leave it to upgrade because that will take time. I go to my scaling, if it allow me to. So you see it's got 3 nodes. You can scale up or scale down, and you can specify more nodes if you choose to. But bearing in mind is the cost available with this vertical scaling. Networking, it's where I specify, I showed you earlier, the DNS namespace policies. Remember I said we don't have any network policies. If you want to use a Azure network policy, you can use PowerShell to apply it, or during the deployment. Okay, the space is you can use Visual Studio or VS Code. There we go, that one's finished, and that will help us for deployment, checking our code and integrate with the local CLI or deployment centers. If we want to use Azure DevOps, Jenkins or Jenkins or Puppet, any other tools for, you can see big this external repo like GitHub or big Bitbucket, or again GitHub or Azure repos. These are the type of repos. You can select, for example, Azure repo and click next, and to load the project, which project, drop down list, maybe Cosmo, repo Cosmo and master, say next, Docker file report and image. I don't have anything at the moment there, so I'm just going to leave it, and we can connect it later on when we come to do DevOps. Policy wise, we said we have not applied any policy. You can see here, this is the onboard to Azure policy for AKS. You can apply scale environment. You can basically, as a prereq, you must register for preview. So in order for me to do this one, what I can do, I can just click here. And here. And you need to basically register for preview so they can Microsoft enable it for you, and it's supposed to provide some feedback to them. Let's have a look. This is supposed to be seamless. Here we go. I'm just going to enable for this one, and they say, would you like to opt in? Yes, I would like to opt in for policies because I want to test it and see what happens. Opt in, and here we go. See, it's registering, and this is what have happened. How much left? Spending 2 days. So still registering, and that's supposed to be updated to registered, yeah, after it's finished. So I'm just going to keep it here, and I go here and see refresh. It should change as soon as I'm registered with the opt-in business or part. Yeah, it's not finished. How long does it take for this to show up? Oh, what did I do? Okay. Reload. Again. And to be patient, it's still registering. It might take time. Okay, so let's ignore it and we'll come back to it later on. So we leave this one and we go next to properties if I choose to, and here's my properties. Version, remember it was 1.16, now it's 1.79, it's the latest. I'm using Kubernetes Cluster DNS, which I defined, and this is the API name, role-based access enabled, resource group if you want to change, and location subscription name and ID. If you want to lock it, this is what I do with this one basically. If you look at this one, it says here, if you want to lock resource group or subscription, you can say lock it, and then you can add, specify, for example, I don't know, just like AKS, what type of lock you want to make it, nobody delete it, I don't want somebody to delete mine, okay, and say okay to this one. Here we go, so nobody can delete this going forward, and this is what happened, yeah. So I need to unlock it first. It comes to and say if you want to change it. So for example, I'm here, and you can see it's locked now here. Part resource lock can't be edited here. Click on the lock scope to do that scope. Okay, so just in case you want to change it, okay, and you can add more if you want to. So I'm going to ignore it. Maybe we use Azure pipeline to deploy that one. We spoke about this last time. I've got all my parameters here as an ARM template. I can download it or add it to basically to the library and give it a proper name, AKS, and then that should allow me to save it. AKS version 1.17.9 and save it, okay? Which means I have it in my library in case if I want to deploy the same template, assuming I do not have like DevOps or any other method of auto deployment. And you can see here, if I would like now to deploy, let's do this deployment later on through the PowerShell, okay, or ARM template. Go to Inside, we said this one is the monitorings. Here we go, we can filter, and you can add filters and based on node. Because I got 3 nodes, so these are 3 nodes, maybe I choose the primary one, and that will show me what's going on. Data, crows, nothing is there for the past 6 hours. Change it to 24 hours or 3 days. And then we see if there are any changes, any fluctuating through this environment. It went a little bit up. Maybe instead of node, I will say namespace. Am I using namespace here? Yes. You see there's some activity, and you can see the cluster name and the average, okay? You can create an alert to the right team and notify them about any changes, any issues. New alert, subscription, resource group, condition, what exactly you want to alert for. I don't know, maybe memory, usage, port count. Go through all these, plenty of nice resources, 2 pages worth of information. Typically I do security a lot. Any changes, do let me know, okay? What exactly changes, any security, any admin changes to my cluster, I need to know what is it, okay? So this will happen. And then what exactly you want to do with it. If you have a group, you can select and create a group where you get notified, okay? If you don't have a group, just give it a name, and for example AKS admin, okay, activities, and then I create the role. Okay, I create the role that should basically any changes to my environment, I get notified if I have the action role set up to my mailbox or sending an email, yeah. So if I refresh here, I should see 1 role, yeah. I go 1 role assigned, okay. Same to good metrics, and they can see the metric for the node, and you can get average. You can get a chart, what exactly you want to monitor, number of faces node, or you want to write your own one, and then you can publish the chart, and you can drill into the charts like a grid or whatever method, yeah. Same thing apply to the diagnostic settings. You can create one like the one we created earlier. You can, if you remember, we create for security. This time I want to diagnose to maybe API server, same log analytics, same workspace, and this AKS API, I will say debugging, and then save it. That will allow me to troubleshoot, capture log, what happened. Under the same workspace, I will have container for this with the logs. Last is the advisor recommendation by them, by Microsoft. Any improvement, low, high. They run that basic, I will say, whatever PowerShell behind or reward, and then they will let us know if any information is required to improve. You can see here, you can download it or you can view it. Okay, you download CSV and you can see what exactly here. Okay, we'll have a look at this later on. Advisor, quickly open up my Excel to show what we have. It's opened. Still trying to load it. There we go. Anything there? Nothing's there. Yeah, we'll open it later on. We'll see what Microsoft recommends us as. Okay. This is the recommendation, and as I said, nothing's there basically. I haven't used it. That's why. And you can see this category, business and resource. Okay, ignore it. Logs, we saw that log analytics earlier. We fed 2 or 3 into it. And you can see getting started. And there's the log analytics options, views. I'm just going to ignore that one for the time being. Or let's run one of these for the containers. You can see all of these are available against our Kubernetes. You can either run it like this to gather data, and you can see the data you're after. Here we go, inside, and give you description. Today is not about App Insight, but we'll have another session if needed. But these are the options available, see, like logs, data, and so on. Last thing is the workbook. And this is same like the previous one. You can run log workbook around disk. You can arrange another session only for monitorings and drill down through these ones. Okay, or you can log a request here. That's all what I had for you for today. You just like walk through the settings. We can arrange another part to go through the alert settings. Next, we will do deployment through the ARM template as well. And then we can continue with our short sort of description for each of the Kubernetes, and we will deep dive into networking and any other sort of like, settings in the coming sessions. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this will interest you into learning about AKS or about Kubernetes in general. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.